Hello everybody, today we're going to be talking about circles. So let's get started with section 8.2, all about circles. So first thing we've got here is a circle that has a center and a radius. So what we're going to do today, instead of having this circle just floating in space, what we're going to do is put it on a coordinate plane so we can describe where it is in space. So here's a coordinate plane with an x and a y axis. And you can see I drew that distance to the center along the x-axis. That is coordinate h. So the center is some distance h from the origin. So h is our x-coordinate of the center. And then on the y-axis, that coordinate is the letter k. So the center is at hk, and the radius is just lowercase letter r, and the radius is that distance from the center to the outside or the circumference of the circle. And that distance is the same no matter where you draw the radius. The center is still the same distance from the outside of the circle. Cool, so the next thing we're going to talk about is how do we write the equation of a circle? So this is the standard form of a circle equation. Starts with x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. So remember, h is the x-coordinate of the center, and k is the y-coordinate of the center, and r is the radius. Okay. So this is our standard form. And something kind of cool. So if you remember the distance formula from geometry, it's really the same formula. So the distance formula was x minus x1 squared plus y minus y1 squared equals distance squared. So really these are the same equation. Okay? The only difference is that our x-coordinate is going to be the center, the y-coordinate, or y1 is going to be the y-coordinate of the center, and that distance is the radius. And the reason this works is because the radius, no matter where you go along the outside of the circle, it's the same distance from the center. Okay, so that's just a little background information for where this equation came from. So now let's do an example. So let's write the equation of a circle that has a certain center at 2, -5, and a radius 7. So first thing I like to do is figure out, okay, well I know 7 is r, h is 2, and k is -5. So from here I just have to plug in those numbers to that standard form equation above. So x minus 2 squared plus y minus -5 squared equals 7 squared. And the only thing to do from here is to simplify a little bit. I have a negative minus a negative, so I can change that y minus -5 into y plus 5, and that 7 squared can be written as 49. So here's our final answer, x minus 2 squared plus y plus 5 squared equals 49. In our last example, so now I'm going to give you a formula and ask you to identify the center and the radius. Cool. So take a minute and see if you can identify what the center and the radius might be. All right, so I'll show you my method. I like to think about what is my formula, and then what can I plug into that formula to make it match the original equation. So I've got x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So the first one, it's already in that form, x minus a number, so x minus 3. But then to make that next part, I have to subtract a negative to make that positive, And to make 36, I can plug in 6. So now my center is at 3, -4, and my radius is 6. And that's the final answer.